Hey everyone, it's Alex, and welcome to the Marvel Snap Decks of the Week, the weekly series where I showcase the top 10 best decks in Marvel Snap. We're doing things a little differently this week. No matter what, we would have had to include some bot-based statistics because, well, everyone's leveling up and the infinite pool is very, very small, so there isn't significant statistics to support, some of the decks out there. But so I took a look and said, okay, why don't we go by cube rate on this first week? Because naturally, everyone's trying to level through towards infinite. That is the goal right now, and so cube rate is a good factor to consider when, well, what's ranking, what's doing well, even if it's bots or not, right? So this entire video is flipped on its head. We're going to be doing everything via cube rate order, and so I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. I think there's a lot of really interesting decks here and whole new archetypes that, like, you probably kind of forgot about. I thought the video was really interesting when I was putting it together, so maybe going forward we'll do this for the first week of every single month and then revert back to the win rate and the more sweaty based statistics. Regardless, these are the top 10 cube rate decks in Marvel Snap right now, and we're starting with Zoo. Zoo has always been good, it continues to be good, and at a 64% win rate, it's still incredible. But it's that cube rate of 0.89, which is still phenomenal, but it's just not quite as good as the cube rate in some of these other leveling decks. It's doing well. It's including Cosmo right now because naturally you have so much Symbiote Spider-Man out there, a lot of testing with Symbiote Spider-Man, you got the bounce with Silver Sable kind of getting popular as well. So Cosmo is finding itself in the meta once again because it counters a lot of those decks, in particular the Zolas, the Black Panthers, and things along those lines. And so this deck also features Silver Sable, which is interesting because if you're looking to kind of, generate some, value for, your Silver Sable gameplay, and then you got it right here. And it's proven to be pretty damn good in all types of decks, whether they're Bounce or Zoo. Sable is just a solid card, Marvel Boy is fantastic, and of course you still have the Gilgamesh Mockingbird closer. There's nothing too crazy here, it's Zoo, it's still good. And that takes us to our next deck here at number 9, and this might be one of the uglier card backs I've ever seen. Athena Speed, 63% win rate and a 0.90 cube rate. And what I like about this here is it's utilizing a little bit of speed, a little bit of Athena Kitty Pride, and a little bit of junk, okay? You got some junk, you got some disruption. You've also got Lady Deathstrike in here for some disruption and to clear your side of the board. You got Magneto to perhaps, cause a little damage to your opponent's positioning on board. And of course with Wiccan, you might be able to slam the door shut in a location early with Magneto. And then you have Goliath. Goliath is definitely making a bit of a comeback right now. It's going to be in the Spotlight Cache next week. And Goliath is honestly just really good right now. It's largely statted, and its disruptive ability is still pretty damn good if you're able to hold initiative. And with this deck, you might be able to play it out early thanks to Wiccan. This deck's performing really well, a really strong win rate, one of the highest win rates of the week actually, and an incredible cube rate as well at 0.90. Then we go to the Symbiote Spider-Man combo deck. Now this deck I really liked a lot, and one of the reasons why I wanted to highlight it is that even though it has a 57% win rate, which is kind of on the lower side of some of these hype decks we're talking about, its cube rate still is very high at 0.91. And what's interesting about this deck is it kind of has everything that Symbiote Spider-Man is trying to do all in one deck. You have the Shuri Symbiote Spider-Man Nimrod package, you have the Black Panther Symbiote Spider-Man Zola package, you've got the Destroyer package, you've got the Taskmaster package, right? There is literally so much happening in this deck. It's basically, okay, what's every combo that works with Symbiote Spider-Man? And let's slam them together. And so the deck was pretty damn funny to look at, and it's pretty damn fun. I actually played a couple games of this. I was like, whoa, this actually kind of works. And it's fun. It's really fun. So if you're looking to do some experimentation with Symbiote Spider-Man, this is kind of like a jack-of-all-trades style deck. Its win rate's a little lower than some of the ones on this list, but the cube rate is still pretty damn awesome, and it cracks the top 10. Now, Surfer continues to be very impressive, a 62% win rate, 0.91 cube rate, and it's just like, it's kind of just Gwen Surfer, right? Again, you're not seeing Sarah in here, but Killmonger doing a ton of work in the current meta considering how much Zoo and Sable there is. You still have the Forge into Brood, which is fantastic, followed up by the Absorbing Man. You also have the Gwenpool, of course, and Nocturne still making these decks, and it's good to see Hope Summers back in it. Hope Summers giving you an opportunity to play Hope Summers down, and then on turn 5 you can play something in the Hope Summers, and that allows you to Surfer and Absorbing Man if you have that particular line. But anyways, Surfer at number 7, it's still pretty damn solid. I personally still prefer Sarah Surfer, but that's a whole other conversation. Toxic, Ajax has been like hovering around the top 10 quite a bit. It hasn't quite breaking into like, oh, this deck is absolutely incredible and must play. But Ajax is definitely a massive stat stick, often rivaling or surpassing that of Gilgamesh. And so I'm starting to turn around on Ajax a little bit. And this deck is a great example of a very high performing deck at a 63% win rate and a 0.92 cube rate. It's just good. It's just good. And Copycat's still in here. I gotta be honest with you, the nerf to Copycat, or not really nerf, but the change to Copycat does feel a little bad. It has felt so much better in the past where it actually steals that ability, but I digress. It's still okay. It's still a great card. It just doesn't feel as good as it, or as impressive as it used to be. I mean, that was the point of the nerf, actually. But anyways, this deck is doing really well. I love the fact that Kate Bishop's in it because 50% of the time it's a toxic clog card. My gosh, that Acid Arrow is absolutely ridiculous. And when you have Acid Arrow and you combo it with Hazmat, Man-Thing, and others, then suddenly you're getting a lot of value for your trades. A very good deck, and US Agent once again in the caches right now if you're interested in picking them up. That takes us to another toxic deck, but a little bit different here. We're talking more about Toxic Clog, and there's actually no toxic here. I'm just referring to the clog being toxic itself. You got the White Widow, you have the Viper plays, you got the Hood, you got the Sentry, you got the Annihilus. You also have the byline of going Cersei as well. Honestly, running a 62% win rate and a 0.93 cube rate, phenomenal. And I feel like, listen, Annihilus Sentry has fallen off significantly since it's kind of perched near the top of the meta because, like, I get it, okay? We took 2 power off the Void, 2 power off Sentry, doesn't feel as good. But, like, Cersei still doesn't care about the Void being -8 power. Like, it's still a 4 cost flipping into a 5, right? So, it's still, like, if anything, this deck it feels better with Cersei now. I find Cersei frustrating to play, but the statistics don't lie. The deck does perform. And I like that it does have a lot of tech here as well with, like, the Shadow King, etc. You can obviously kick over Mysterio clones with the Viper. There's a lot of plays here. In the version I was testing, I was seeing if I could do something with, like, Mysterio Sasquatch, stuff like that. But Mockingbird always just felt better as a closing line. So I do agree with the way this deck is designed. It's good. It's damn good. And almost no one's playing Annihilus right now. So it's kind of interesting to play that card and even kick back some of the stuff like the White Widows you're against and all the Viper Clogs you're getting. Annihilus is kind of a pretty interesting meta call right now, and I think it's probably being slept on. So here's a deck for you if you're interested in seeing that. Now we have a couple Ultron-based decks, and here's the first one, and it's literally Ultron Patriot. You are still using the Sandman, you got the Doctor Doom, you got the Symbiote Spider-Man in there as well. Symbiote Spider-Man, fantastic because you can play it, and then you can like reproc on the Doom, for instance, right, based on your turn order. So you play Doom, it does the bots, you activate on the same turn, it does the bots again. A lot of value there. I think Red Guardian is going to be huge. If you don't have Red Guardian now, you might want to keep an eye on for the Madam Web week. I think that it's just a good card. Silver Sable makes this deck as well. It's just a great deck, and it's using the Patriot to boost up those Ultron drones as well as a nice closer. Sandman really shuts things down, and then the Ultron Patriot, it's pretty much too hard for your opponent to kind of deal with. And of course, the Patriot also buffs the Doctor Doom, which gets buffed by this Symbiote Spider-Man reproc. Patriot's good in this deck. It's good in this deck. 60% win rate and a 0.96 cube rate. As we go into our next deck of the week, it's worth noting that over half of you are not yet subscribed. We're on our way to 100,000 subscribers, guys. It's been a dream and a goal of mine. So if you're one of the people out there that's like, hey, you know what? I'm not even sure if I'm subscribed, because maybe the algorithm just kind of feeds these videos to you when they come out because you watch them, but you have never actually looked to click the button. Maybe consider hitting that button if you haven't already. I would sincerely appreciate it because, we're on our way to 100,000 subscribers, and I would love for you to be there for that ride. So thank you so much for your support and your consideration as you consider whether or not you're a negative gamer. 56% win rate and casual, just natural low win rate for Mr. Negative with incredible cube rate potential. 1.07 cubes. We're a single cube positive here, guys, and it's straight up just Tribunal negative. It's good. I like the addition of Super Scroll in here, by the way, because we are seeing more Tribunal out there. From a play rate perspective, it's kind of increasing. Bots have a really hard time dealing with Tribunal. I think it appears really weak early on. Turn 5 comes around, they have initiative, they snap, you snap back, and then you pump like 30 plus power across all lanes. I think it's like one of the best bot cube stealers, right? And also very effective against many of the decks that you're against in the current meta. So honestly, Tribunal's solid. It's an excellent call. The statistics don't lie. And if you're looking to rank up, this is one of the best ones you can choose. As we go to number 2, it's the other version of Sandman. This one not running the Patriot, just running all the good stuff cards. You got the Red Hulk, you got the Claw, you got the Cap Marvel, Copycat, Makari. This is the top performing one, 66% win rate, which is absolutely astonishing. And a 1.14 cube rate. The deck's performing incredibly, and it absolutely slays bots, it slays players, it slays pretty much everything. And at some point, like I'm getting worried Ultron's gonna get touched up. Ultron was weak before. Is it too powerful now? Do they have to take power off the Ultron itself? Is it going to become a 6/6? That would be my guess. I think that Ultron ends up being a 6/6, by the way, but we'll get there when we'll cross that bridge when they get there, as they say. So anyways, number 2, no surprises here. This deck's been a top performer for a while, even after the Nocturne and the Sandman nerfs. This deck was crushing for so long, and it's absolutely near the top. Now it takes us to number 1, and I couldn't believe it, but it was Arishem at a 64% win rate and a 1.22 cube rate. It's crushing. This still has Loki in it. Legion's absolutely hilarious. Enchantress. I actually gave this a shot. I don't like playing in like Arishem because it feels kind of cringy still. I don't know why. It's just, you know. So I was playing it. I was just like giving it a shot to make sure it was legit. And I was like, man, this Enchantress is actually soul crushing for a lot of players. It soul crushes Tribunal. It soul crushes Zoo for the most part. It does such wonders in the meta. And I think Enchantress is probably one of the underappreciated cards of the meta right now. And even with Madam Web coming out, Enchantress represents a pretty good answer to it as well. So anyways, I think you're going to get used to seeing some Enchantress. Legion, absolutely hilarious in this deck. And would you be surprised to know that Arishem is still good? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I truly appreciate you. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next Marvel Snap video.